Gentlemen, you don't have enough talent to win on talent alone.
Hello, and welcome to the Town of Love podcast brought by The Wheel. I am your host, Adam Hess, and with me, as always, he's sanctioning 8 European countries for not letting him buy Greenland. It's Mike Regan.
I guess that works, because Trump's pretty fired up about the Greenland thing, and I'm pretty fired up, Adam, so I'm just going to get right into it.
All right.
I'm not even going to bullshit it, because so this morning, I, like around 9 o'clock, I think, got a little Badoop, a little notification that was like, Bill's coaching search officially begins, and it said that they have interviews lined up with Brian Dable, obviously former OC for us, Anthony Lynn, who was a former RB coach and OC, and then was actually the interim for a minute, and the finalist, one of the final candidates in 2017, but we ended up hiring McDermott, obviously. And then we also requested to interview Lou Anarumo of the Colts, the DC there. And so for a second today, I got to have a calm day and just sit back and think and look into those guys and try to think like, all right, how could I talk myself into one of these three? What do I really think of these three? And that all went out the window because there was a press conference and Terry Pegula had to open his mouth. And so then my thought process switched to, if I'm one of those three coaches, why would I want to come to this team? Because I don't...
Brandon Bean? See get the people going?
No, because I don't want to come to a team that the image that was set from that press conference, I don't like. For them to stand up there and, I mean, Bean in that press conference, in my opinion, just kind of came across a little bit like a drone, you know, just trying to say like the right platitudes and things, to not come across too much like the stooge that he's being viewed as now, which I think any GM who, when you go through a season where everybody and their mother perceives you to have a weak roster, but then you fire the head coach and you're a GM who gets promoted, people are going to think you're probably a stooge. But anyway, but Pegula in particular, who I'd like to say thank you to Pegula, because in February 22nd, 2011, he bought the Sabres out from bad ownership. And then a few years later, he buys the Bills, keeps them in Buffalo, because when they were up for sale, there was a lot of talk that the team could leave. So I appreciate that. But I don't think you're a good owner outside of that. For you to sit up there and your GM just fields a standard question about the issues with the wide receivers, and for you to feel it necessary to jump in and bury the dude you just fired, okay? The guy who... There's two things about this. One, McDermott's been there. He was there for 7 years. He was the guy who broke your playoff drought, which was the longest in the NFL, if not the entire world of sports at the time. He was there and broke that before Josh got there. That was with Tyrod and the boys, Tyrod and Shady. He is a part of why we became a winning franchise, perennially, yearly, making the playoffs, made a couple conference championship games. He's why the team got so successful that the evaluation of the team has skyrocketed since you purchased it. He's why the state of New York decided to cut a deal and have the taxpayers fund a big chunk of your fancy new stadium across the street. He was a part of that. Whether he deserved to get fired or not, he was a part of that. But you felt it okay to go out there and bury him over a basic question as about the wide receiver depth. And you jump in and say that that was the coaching staff wanted Keon and Bean was being a team player. All right, well, let's go give him a fucking Boy Scout medal for being a team player. Congratulations, Brandon.
Which then,
not only did you...
And so for anyone who hasn't experienced this press conference or the quotes from it, I will say that a reporter asked Brandon Bean specifically about Keon Coleman. Pegula steps in and says that he will address the Keon situation, cutting off Brandon Bean, by the way, speaking over Brandon Bean to do this. Mm-hmm. He then throws McDermott under the bus, then kind of tries to walk it back by saying that he basically wasn't saying that Brandon Bean wouldn't have drafted Keon Coleman, but that it wasn't his next choice. And that then he was a team player and took Keon Coleman.
Yeah, and Pegula even went as far as to point out that, you know, Bean's gotten a lot of heat for that pick, or for that You know, he made sure to point that out. He got a lot of heat for it, but he hasn't said anything about it being a coaching decision. Is basically what he was inferring because he's such a team player. Two things. One, yeah, like even if Terry Pegula in his dumb moment decided to step in, I feel like Bean should have immediately responded and say, hey, in the end, as a GM, I always take what my coaching staff thinks into consideration. So it was as a group, that was the decision we came to. And, through the first 2 seasons, we haven't got the play we've wanted out of Keon, but we hope he can continue to develop and really help the team. Boom, cut, dry, not that hard. Because in the process of that, you also just buried one of your players who, despite what you think of how he's played, whether you think he's a draft buster or not, you just buried him. So you might as well just go ahead and put him on the trade block for a 7th because he doesn't want to fucking be here anymore. And I have no time. As a coach, I'd have no time for an owner who I know is just going to throw me under the bus in these situations, because you also know that that's not Pegula just saying that. That's a sentiment coming from Bean, is that wasn't my choice. Bean kind of got caught in 4K because there's video evidence of like a documentary kind of thing that they do like during the offseason on the Bills website, where Bean is quoted as saying, one, going into the draft, he says, going to sleep that night, I thought it's Keon. It's Keon unless someone offers us something ridiculous. And then in the war room, as they like to call it, on draft day, they're like, "Are we gonna do?" He's like, "We're gonna take Keon unless we get like blown." Or the first quote was, "It's Keon unless we get blown away by something else." And then in the draft from that day, he said, "It's Keon unless someone offers us something ridiculous." So it sounds like you were on board with the pick. That's all I'm saying. Maybe he was just saying that to support his coach and his coaching staff, but it sounds like you were on board. And then like the other quote from Pegula that really got my blood boiling was him when talking about deciding to fire McDermott. He said part of it, what made him decide to do it, was his quarterback being in tears and going into the locker room, and Josh, I believe he used the word sobbing. He was crying, and he said that he walked up to him and Josh didn't even notice he was there, didn't acknowledge him.
That was maybe my favorite quote.
Because maybe he doesn't give a shit about you right now because he just got knocked out of the playoffs again in a game that once again is going to go down in history as that game where people are going to be like, oh yeah, but there was that one call. It was kind of messed up, wasn't it? And he has to deal with that. To that, I want to say, there's one thing I want to say. I'm not going to say it. So I'll say this. That's messed up. Don't take your quarterback, who was in tears when he did his press conference at the podium, his moment of vulnerability, and use that to try to defend your decision, whether it was right or wrong. And I've said that I'm fine with them firing McDermott. I just think it's crazy that a guy who was equally, if not more, part of the problem got promoted. And try to use that.
On that note,
because you know what?
I do think that even if that story is true and not scapegoatery, it doesn't like super reflect well that the guy who is single-handedly steering the ship made a decision as earth-shattering or groundbreaking for the Bills organization as firing the 9-year coach that's got you to the playoffs 8 times. And once again, like, I'm not a McDermott guy. So like I think McDermott should have gone, but like that apparently he made this decision on a whim because he was emotional over Josh Allen crying.
Right.
Like, that's how it comes out if this story is true from his perspective and not just spin zone shit.
Right. And that kind of goes to my thing where I'm like, he said, he was like, you could tell he just gave everything he got. And I was just thinking, like, we have to do better. How can we do better? My follow-up question, if I was a reporter in that crowd, Mike Regan, Town 1. You mentioned how Josh, seeing Josh so upset after the loss, it really was a part of your thought process in firing McDermott. Since Josh is the franchise quarterback and McDermott's the only coach he's had since he entered the NFL, did you talk to Josh at all before making that decision?
Did you see
that? Would have been a good question.
Any of the reporter discussion where the reporters kept asking why McDermott was to blame and not Bean?
I mean, I've seen that. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it start to finish for full transparency.
So he just, like, it wasn't like he was intentionally dodging the question. It was just like it hadn't even occurred to him. Like, he was, like, him being Terry Pegula. Like, Terry Pegula was so flummoxed by the idea that someone asked him a question repeatedly asked him a question on why Sean McDermott was fired for where the Bills were and not Brandon Beane.
Yeah.
And he just kept saying things like about how he thinks back and remembers how they were the 5 seed, then the 2 seed, then the 3 seed, then the 5, like whatever. Like he just listed like their seeding in order for the past 8 playoffs. And that was kind of it. Like that was kind of his answer to it. And so they would ask him the same question in a different way, and then he would have like, some comment about how great McDermott was for the franchise, but they needed to go in a new direction. Like, once again, never really like addressing it, but not in a like, I've thought about this and I'm intentionally avoiding it because it's a behind the scenes thing. Like it generally seemed like it did not occur to him that Brandon Beane is to blame for the current state of the roster.
Right, because Brandon Beane has his ear.
Yeah.
They hang out, they watch things together. I'll get to that in a second. Using Josh Allen crying just came across to me like that's borderline manipulative and just such horseshit. And like I said, I don't hate the McDermott firing. I'm not super against it. But there's so many questions to be asked about Beane's involvement. And Beane made the comment towards the end where he said, I carry some shame and some guilt about how things turned out, and I need to do better. And I hope beyond hope, I pray to the God I don't believe in that was a genuine thing and not just a boilerplate PR statement, and that he's actually taken a second now that he saw the guy who literally got hired like about the same time he did, and they rode through this together. He saw him get axed, and it actually made him take a second to step back and say, man, you know what? Some of the criticisms towards me were right, and I could have done better, and I need to do better. I'm not going to say I totally believe that, but we'll see. All this comes back to something I said, I believe I mentioned on the last podcast, is that when McDermott got fired and then the news came out that Beane got promoted, I started to get worried. And that is because, as I mentioned, February 22nd, 2011, Terry Pegula buys the Buffalo Sabres. He's a longtime Sabres fan. He's got deep pockets because he out there fracking, And he does his press conference when he becomes the owner where he says, from this day forward, the reason for the Sabres' existence is to win a Stanley Cup. 15 seasons now we haven't been in the playoffs, and he's made misstep after misstep. He's put people in power that shouldn't be. Say what you want about Kevin Adams. I can get into a second. I find, in light of the Beane thing, I find Kevin Adams' situation very interesting because here's the thing about billionaires that I said I was going to get to. These billionaire owners, one, they obviously have a fragile ego, which can cause them to sometimes overstep when things start going wrong because they think, well, I got rich in this other thing that gave me the money to buy this team, so I know everything.
Right.
Number two is they're extremely easy to manipulate. And that's how guys become the dudes like Brandon Beane who are in the room watching games, chumming it up with Pegula, and now he has his ear, and he's his guy. And I connect that to the Kevin Adams thing with the Sabres where, I mean, come on. From the second when the Sabres clean house, cut all these positions in the front office, and they promote Kevin Adams, who was on the business side of the organization, over here to be GM, everybody was like, oh, come on. Like, this is ridiculous. And it's just funny because last season, Terry let Kevin go out there and do a press conference and say dumb things because fans are upset and people are upset. And he said dumb things like, well, it's tough to get players to come here because the taxes and there's no palm trees, which Kevin got roasted for, to the point where fans started bringing blow-up palm trees to games and they started confiscating them. Fast forward, we can him this year, right? Because a guy comes into the office by the name of Jarmo Kakalainen who has experience as an NHL GM. And what do you think he did, Adam?
Nothing.
No. Well, yeah, partially. But also, he sat down. He started talking to Pegula. He started getting into his ear. And Pegula started going, you know what? I like the cut of this guy's jib. He's the guy, actually. That guy, Adams, who I promoted when he probably shouldn't have been GM in the first place. So I already put him in a situation he shouldn't be in. And then I let him go out to the public because I rarely make comments because, like, as we saw from this Bills press conference, every time Terry Pegula talks to the public, he says something fucking stupid. I'm going to throw Kevin out there to say the stupid things. Let him get roasted, lambasted, and hated by everybody in Buffalo. and then I'll fire him once this new guy comes in and starts telling me things I want to hear. That's the situation we're in here. Bean has his ear, and Bean likes him. And I know I'm going on a long time about this, but even if you want to just cut through all of it, just go down to one thing here. The biggest thing that pissed me off was obviously him trying to use Josh crying as a defense for his decision, whether it was a good decision or not. That was horseshit. And two, the Keon thing was so dumb. And I would not want to be a head coach for a team where, because that came from Bean. He didn't just pull it out of his ass. That came from Bean to defend himself. And I totally get it, by the way. That stuff happens behind closed doors. It's no different than GMs talk to the owner and they feel the heat and their job might be on the line. So they start saying, well, this is the problem. That's the problem, to convince them that, it's not my fault. Same thing with a coach. Coach feels heat. He goes into a meeting with the GM and he says, we need to fire Bobby Slowick, for example. You sacrifice the coordinator to save your ass. I get that. That's the kind of shit that if it's going to come out, it gets leaked to some beat reporter, and that's where it happens. It doesn't happen on an official press conference from your fucking owner. This is a joke. This man is a joke. I do not like him. I'll be honest with you. Between the 15 years of hell I've experienced with the Sabres, and people don't realize this, it's probably surprising to people. There are some people in Buffalo who just don't follow hockey. Well, I tell all those people, study up. I'd say let's call it 75-25. You study up and learn what the last 15 years have been like, because we might be going into that direction. And I don't want to be, I'm fired up, but screw it. And you may say, oh, you're being overdramatic. In a couple of years, if Josh decides I want to get out of here, I'm not going to blame him. So I think we're heading down a dark road, Bills fans. I don't like anything I'm seeing. I think we're heading down a dark road. And the last thing I'll sum this up, and then we can move on because I know I'm eating up a lot of time of the podcast with my rant, is you'll notice something about successful sports franchises. And this was part of the way the Bills operated prior to this year, is that the less you see and know of the owner, the less of the effect he has on the team, the better the team usually does. People don't know shit about the Chiefs owner. What's his name? Who is he?
Andy Reid.
I don't know. Right? That's what they probably think.
It's got to be. He's always there. Taylor Swift? Does she own the team?
If you say to someone, if you walk up to someone and just say Dallas Cowboys, the first thought is Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
All right. That's not a good thing. And I always said that going back to the Sabres struggles, people will be like, oh, the Bills are doing so good, and why can't they get it right with the Sabres? And I always said, well, Pagula hired a GM and a coach who came in, they made their culture, and they got things going. And so he was hands off because they got it. Now with the McDermott firing, Pagula being at this press conference saying stupid things, it scares me that he's getting his fingers into it and he doesn't know dick all about the situation. And it could be bad from here. So just brace yourself. The only silver lining is you can say, hey, if we make a poor coaching decision or whatever, we do have Josh Allen, and that can make up for a lot. But we just saw this year in the playoffs, and for really multiple years, it can only make up for so much.
Yeah, I think it can't be understated how negatively this press conference was perceived by just about everyone involved. The Athletic had stories on it with anonymous quotes from other team executives. Basically, if you looked anywhere on Twitter, everyone from beat writers who normally report on these things to the national audience who does not pay attention to end-of-the-year press conferences all had negative things to say. It was generally a disaster.
It's like you've talked about it before, about how you should do PR for these teams for the way they handle things. Every quote I read from this press conference, I was like, I could have told you a better answer. Why are you guys so dumb?
Yeah, I feel like someone really just needed 40 seconds before they went live to just put Terry Pagula in a fake room with a fake microphone and a fake audience.
Yeah.
And then just let Brandon Beane go out there and field questions. If you got promoted, you got to take the good with the bad. You're the president of football ops now. Have him go through the fire and come out on the other side about the McDermott firing instead of putting Terry Pagula in front of a live mic.
And and that comes back to my Keon question, and even more questions. And I get it. People are gonna have questions about what went wrong this year and, the decision to fire McDermott. I get it. But the entire antithesis of this press conference should have been what we're going to do going forward. Like the response to the wide receiver thing, if Pagula didn't stick his pointy ass nose in, Bean should have been like, hey, I believed in this receiver core going into the season. And we had some injuries and we didn't get the level of play we expected out of some guys. But, going forward, we hope to see some development from our younger guys. And we realize that going into the offseason, we're going to take a hard look at, the draft and free agency to address that. Boom, done. Cookie cutter, not that fucking hard. If I was a head coach, I wouldn't come to Buffalo right now.
I do think that there is a case to be made that Brandon Beane would have said almost identically that if it hadn't been for the fact that when someone asked him a question about Keon Coleman, the owner shouted over him to talk about how Keon Coleman is the reason everyone got fired.
I think you're 100% right. I think Beane was ready to go into that interview with very diplomatic kind of just PR good answers to get through it, and mitigate the damage from everybody online wishing that he would get shot into the sun. But they brought out Pagula, and he had to stick his fracking nose in it.
I like how you said they brought out Pagula. Like someone back there was like, all right, Bean's ready to go. You know who we should bring into this?
Like someone asked Bean a question, and then all of a sudden you heard the glass shatter. They're like, by God, that's Pagula's music. Sean McDermott wanted Keon.
I cannot get over how much of a bad vibe it is that those two specific things. One, the Keon Coleman quote, and two, the firing McDermott because Josh Allen cried thing. Just like, do you really make multi-million-dollar business decisions based off the emotions of one person? Is that really?
So I can tell you right now, I don't believe Josh has made like an extensive comment on it that I've seen, but I can tell you right now, the dude gets drafted. The internet's telling him that he actually sucks dog shit and this was the wrong pick. And yeah, Bean picked him, but like McDermott's that coach that rode with him. He bought into what McDermott was selling. He believed in it. He went with it. And I doubt that when he heard McDermott got fired, he was like, yay! I bet you he was probably upset for a minute. And he probably was thinking, if I'm totally speculating, he probably was thinking, once again, back to what he said on the podium after the game, I let the team down. I bet you when you heard McDermott got fired, he said, I let him down because I won that game. He would still be here. I'd bet dollars to donuts, and I don't know the guy, obviously, but I bet you that would be his fucking mindset.
That's another thing that Pagula said. And after this, we got to move on because we can't do a whole podcast on this.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do a whole podcast on this. It would just not do great. Maybe it'd do numbers for SEO. But anyways, another thing that's worth bringing up about this is Pagula was asked, or, he's probably asked, like, hey, Terry, what do you put in your tea? And went on a diatribe for 45 minutes. But at one point during the press conference, he gave an answer where he was talking about basically the process to come to his reason for firing McDermott. And he even said if that catch wasn't ruled an interception, Sean probably would still be here.
Don't say that out loud.
Wait, right? Don't say that out loud. Just keep that in your head, man. Like, even if it's true, and objectively, it's true. But even if it's true, like, why you're in front of a microphone, man. Everyone can hear you.
It's like Budenholzer, who was coaching the Bucks the year they won the title, right? If Katie's foot wasn't on the line and that was a 3-pointer instead of a 2-pointer, the Bucks are eliminated and Budenholzer's fired.
Right.
That's a fact. We all know that. But you don't say that out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a complete disaster of a broadcast. We still don't really have insight into when Josh knew that McDermott was getting fired.
He doesn't want to talk
obviously
about it,
yeah, it was a few days afterwards. Pagula kind of implied that Josh didn't know or didn't have input, but would have input on the new coach. But we really don't have any answers on that.
He should have had input on both.
I
He's the
don't
franchise.
know. He is the
Even
franchise. I don't know if you should go to a player and ask him about keeping a coach because players are terrible scouts.
Right. I would phrase that. Even if he doesn't have input on whether they kept McDermott or not, there should have been a prior to that news coming out. If there wasn't, there should have been prior to that news coming out. Hey, Josh, here's what we're thinking. Here's what the news is about to break on this because we're going to fire McDermott. You let that guy know. Because if not, that guy feels blindsided. He gets upset that guy who he, like I said, rode with his entire NFL career, then can get upset. And you don't want that. And luckily, every interview Josh has ever done, he's spoke about how much he loves Buffalo and all he wants more than anything is to bring the Lombardi to Buffalo. And you are lucky that's his thought process. Or else you'd be in a fucking shit world of trouble right now, in my opinion.
Anything else you want to get off your chest about this press conference or the Buffalo Bills last 4 days?
No, I just think like someone pointed out on Twitter, like this is why Pagula hasn't done a press conference in like 4 years.
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. That was it. 5 years. He hasn't fielded questions, and this is why.
Just outrageous. I mean, couldn't have happened at a worse time either, because there's about 4 days before a conference championship game that people don't particularly seem excited about, especially in the AFC. But you got about 4 days of just slow news days for us to litigate this over and over again.
You're a Commies fan. You watched every single one of their games start to finish. How would you grade their run game this year?
I would grade their run game as the best part of the team, so like B+.
That's what you probably know. That's what Anthony Lynn was doing this year. He was the running backs coach.
Yeah,
running game coordinator.
Coach.
So.
I guess. But also, like, the offensive line coach is the one who dictates how the running game goes, right? Not the running backs coach.
I think
what
the
does
running
backs coach teach the running back that improves that? It's like, hey, don't get tackled.
No, I feel like the running backs coach dictates the running game to an extent, but I also think the offensive line coach is really the key to how effective what the running backs coach is saying works, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like if I was telling someone to like run forward, but then a guy whose job it is to, spontaneously like produce brick walls decided to produce one in front of him, no matter what I do, I can't get around the brick wall.
I'll say this to Anthony Lynn's credit. Chris Rodriguez, who's been there like as a late round draft pick the last 3 years, has definitely evolved more in the last two. He's definitely improved as a running back in the last two. And to his detraction, to Corey Krosky-Merritt, who walked into the season as the RB1, seemed woefully unprepared for the kind of vision that it took to be a running back at game speed.
I mean, like I said, when
they both averaged like 4+ yards a carry.
Right. Like I said, when Anthony Lynn was our OC and like RB coach, and then OC, and then interim head coach for a few games. Shady McCoy always cooked. So.
And he never did well anywhere else, so that's a good example.
No, never. I don't even know where he was before that. Somewhere with like cheesesteaks or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper. Must have been Vegas. Vegas has cheesesteaks in Bradley Cooper, right?
That's right, yeah.
Mike, I'm glad I really queued up this how great this conference championship weekend is going to be, because now we have to talk about the conference championship weekend.
Yay. I'm just kidding.
Get everyone all excited for that. I figure we can ease our toes into the water here by doing a quick draft. So the way that I pose this to you is that we are going to do a remaining teams draft, where from the 4 remaining teams, you have to draft a coach, a quarterback, 1 skill position player, 1 defensive line player, 1 defensive back, and a kicker.
Mm-hmm.
And the pool of players is obviously the 4 remaining playoff teams.
And so just to where do the linebackers fall?
They're not on the list.
Okay. I consider, I'm going to say with D-line, because when you say front, I think front 7.
Front 7?
So I'm combining them with D-line, yeah.
If you want to draft a linebacker instead of defensive lineman, sure.
Wait, I thought we were drafting units.
We need to establish a time window before the podcast, like an hour before, where you just text me exactly what the podcast is going to be, so I can go, no, not that, this.
You just put, so draft D-line. So obviously anybody would think like, oh, I'm drafting a specific team's defensive line.
Oh my God, fine. We'll just do the whole defensive line.
Okay, same thing with D-back should be the entire secondary. Skill position should be receivers, tight ends, running backs.
So, okay, so we're going to draft the entire coaching staff as well?
No, we're going to draft head coach, QB,
Okay. Do you get
skill
the backup
position,
QB?
like skill position unit. Sure, you can get a backup QB too. I'll give you that. Your defensive front, your secondary, and then your kicker.
Now we'll do it your way. That's fine.
That
All
was
this has to
better.
get cut. All this has to get cut, right? You know what? Let's just end the podcast. I think we did good enough on the
We're done.
Bills
We're
rant. I think we're good to go from there.
You can
Mike,
say I
kick or
got
receive?
so mad. You can say I got so mad I punched my computer and put a hole through it so we couldn't record anymore.
We can still record with a hole in your computer. The important stuff would still be there. Your voice and me.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna let you go first. I like having the pressure off me.
Pressure off you? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I am going to take the Rams skill position unit. That's my first pick.
Oh wow. Okay, I think that's
So that means
that's where you'd go.
I get Puka Nacua. I get Devontae Adams, who is the only receiver allowed to catch an interception and not call it an interception. I get Kyron Williams, Colby Parkinson, which I feel like it's an insult to Blake Corum that I mentioned Colby Parkinson before him, but also Blake Corum.
It kind of is. Yeah.
So I will take the Rams skill position. Also, I guess we'll do Snake. Who cares? Either way.
Oh, okay, so I got back to back here.
You got back to back.
All right.
Like the Drake.
Well, I'll go ahead and just knock that because I was down to like 2 QBs. I think it's either May or Stafford. I'm gonna go with the guy who's been there before. I'm gonna take Matty Staffs. Matty Staff infection.
It'd be great now if you draft McVay and then I take their defensive backs and we just go basically the entire Rams, and then after this we can both pick the Patriots or pick the Seahawks to win.
Let's see. We don't have to pick offensive line. Which probably should have been on here.
Well, because if it was just an individual player, what individual offensive lineman are you going to pick, Mike? You see how I structured this? You see why I didn't include offensive line?
I wasn't planning it for individual players, and I would have probably taken Garrett Bowles to answer your question. But thank you. So it sounds crazy because I've shit on this defense in the playoffs and through the last few weeks of the season, but I think that's because their back end is poor, and that's the problem with them being able to get home and do their damage. But I'm actually going to take the Rams defensive line, their defensive front.
Neither one of us is going to pick the Rams in this game, and yet
Probably
we have
not,
picked 3 Rams units to start off this draft. All right, for coach, I'm going to take Sean McVay.
Bad. Oh no, good. I'm sorry.
I'm not actually.
Okay.
I just thought it'd be funny if we kept the Rams thing going. Who do I want? I'm going to take the Denver Broncos defensive backs. That's who I'm going to take.
I like it. I already got D-line sorted out here.
You see, because they have Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, Jahdae Barron, and the guy who just gets to get an interception whenever he feels like it, Jalen McMillan.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
You could throw a ball, could be complete, could be down, and you could just take the ball and they'll call it an interception. Yeah. Nothing? Fine. I'll move on with my life. I don't need you.
I'm trying to let it go.
Validate
Trying to
my
let it go,
jokes.
Adam.
All right. For coach, I just don't want to lose this guy. I don't think this is the guy you would take. I'm just worried about losing him. I'm gonna take Ronald McDonald himself. That's
what I wanted.
Take
That's
good
what
old
I
Mikey
wanted. You
Max, the Seattle
You're smart.
coach.
You're a smart man. All right. Shit. All right. So now I got back-to-back picks.
That is how it works.
That is indeed how it works. So I'm gonna go ahead and take skill position.
The nice thing about when you were ranting about the Bills is I could keep sneezing. That's going to be really easy to cut out of the podcast. The problem is now that I'm talking, I keep sneezing and then immediately talking, which means I'm going to go in there frame by frame to find the moment the sneeze ends and the talking begins.
So I'm going to go ahead and for my skill position, I'll take the Seahawks. Little JSN, Offensive Player of the Year, Rashid Shaheed, best trade deadline acquisition, taking it to the house on the kickoff returns. A little AJ Barner action, and also a very old Cooper Kupp. And,
You and I-
KW3. Can't get
You
can't
you and I
with KW3.
in like overlapping bits that wasn't intended bits both mentioned the wash tight end before we mentioned the running back.
Right. KW3 cooked last week. I think he's got it going right now. So that takes care of my skill position.
Also, didn't you get Elijah Arroyo?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not
there you go.
listed as like the technical starter, so that's why I didn't think about it. Well, you've already
He's probably
taken
not
coach.
going to play snaps, but
You've already taken coach and D back, so I can wait and do that whenever I want.
see, this
You
is
haven't
why.
taken-
This is why I always like to add extra gimmicking into this because we do the
Yeah.
same thing where we're like, wow, I mean, I can just box you out because you can't take anything there, so I might as well. Yeah.
That's true.
This is why the Oscars pod is so goddamn convoluted.
Who do I want kicking my field goals? I don't know if I like that. If I like that.
You can get the thicker kicker.
The thicker kicker?
The Rams kicker, he's like
Yeah.
he's like a Voltorb.
It's big boy.
Yeah.
Big boy.
It's perfectly circular.
Definitely not. All right. Let's give me one more second to make my decision here.
Yeah, you know. The clock's
Definitely
ticking
not.
right
Definitely not taking him. Definitely not taking him. All right. I'm down to 2.
here. Okay.
And it's honestly, I shouldn't even thought about it. I'm obviously going with my boy. All right. The thicker kicker. Because you know where he went to college?
Notre Dame? Mizzou?
Hell no. Mizzou holds the SEC record for the longest field goal made, baby. Harrison
Mizzou's
Mavis.
in the SEC?
Yes, it is.
I thought they were group of 5.
Nope. You dick.
I thought they were. What do you want me to say, Mike?
You're a fool.
I'm a fool. I'm a damn fool. Okay. So I could take a second coach here.
Good.
I don't think I could. I think that kind of works against the.
Yeah, that would actually be that'd be illegal. It'd be a legal pick.
It'd be an illegal pick. Okay. So you took Dicker, right?
No.
Who'd you take?
As kicker?
Yeah.
I took Harrison Mavis, dude.
Oh, Harrison Mavis.
Let's
that's
talk
right.
about this. Mizzou.
Because we kept calling him the thicker kicker. So I
don't-
in my head yeah.
Can we also talk about that? I don't know why I did this with my hands for Mizzou. It makes absolutely no sense. That's not a thing, just so people know.
I just thought it was a thing, so I just let it go.
It wasn't.
I just assumed it was
Wasn't
a
a
thing.
thing.
Okay, what do I still
My
need here? I
thing.
need defensive line, and I need quarterback, and I need a kicker. So what if I took Jared Stidham? That'd be fucking
Ballsy.
wild. That'd be fucking
Ballsy.
wild.
Big Auburn Tigers guy?
Obviously, I'm gonna take Drake May.
Okay. But you hate him.
Yeah, but not as much as I hate rooting for backup kickers or quarterbacks. I had to do that for like 11 years in Washington.
Man's just sold all of his Darnold stock. He doesn't believe.
I did.
Is it
I sold
Darnold?
it all.
You're a Darnold denier now.
I am. Darnier. I'm a Darnier.
Mhm.
And I will then take the Seattle defensive line. No.
Sure
I'm gonna
about that?
I'm going to take the Denver defensive line. Just for Nick Bonito. That's all I want. Don't care about John Franklin Myers. Don't care about Alex Singleton. Don't care about Dre Greenlaw. It's all for Nick Bonito. That's what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you still need defensive backs, and you need a coach.
Coach. All right. I mean, defensive backs. I'm going Seattle. Devon Witherspoon having a great season. Also, I'm obviously going to take the defensive back unit that's got a boy from Notre Dame and Julian Love. Let's go.
You can take Arizona's. I'll let you take Arizona's defensive backs. If you
No,
want.
I'm not taking Arizona's. I'll take Seattle. And then for coach, I'm gonna similar to me taking Stafford because I said he's been there before. He's done it before. I'm gonna take his coach, a little Sean McVay.
The only coach who's been there before?
Well, I mean, the only coach who's been there before and is also gorgeous.
Are you trying to say Sean Payton's not gorgeous?
That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. Yes.
All right. My final pick here, I need a kicker. And I guess I am just going to take Borgalis out of New England because not the world's best crop of kickers, you know?
No, you're not a big Will Lutz guy.
No, I'm not. Been in the league too long.
You're not nuts for Lutz?
The older generation needs to retire and give the younger generation a chance to become a middle-class guy. And Will Lutz has been in the league, and I'm not making this up, since 1903.
You know, I think you're making that up, but you said you're not, so I'm going to believe
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I said I'm not, so I can't be. Mike,
never lied.
Here are our teams from the remaining teams draft. You have the immortal, the immovable, the hand-shattering Matthew Stafford. The Seattle Seahawks skill position.
Fuck yeah.
The Rams defensive line, or front seven, I should say. The Seattle defensive backs, and Harrison Mavis, the thicker kicker. And all of them are coached by Sean McVay, wasting timeout after timeout after timeout. Still doing the Mizzou hands.
Mm-hmm.
I, on the other hand, have taken Drake May, the skill position players of the Los Angeles Rams, the defensive backs the front seven from Denver, the defensive backs from Denver, and my kicker is the New England kicker, Andy Borgalis. And all of that is coached by Mike McDonald, which means my defense is going to be really disciplined. It's going to be great. And he gets to coach none of his own players. Never mind. Oh, no. Yeah, none of his own players. Never mind. Mike, do you feel guilty leaving incumbent or incoming Coach of the Year Mike Vrabel on the cutting room floor there? Future Hall of Famer Sean Payton also on the cutting room floor.
Fuck Sean Payton. He's overrated. The most overrated coach in the league right now.
What team did we draft the least here? We had 2 Denvers, 1, 2, 3. God, we had so many Rams. Why did we draft so much of the Rams?
A lot of the Rams. Good amount of Seahawks. I drafted a good amount of Seahawks.
Yeah.
I just want to double check something.
What's up?
Okay, yeah. So that's what I thought. All right. So I want to make sure I wasn't misremembering that Sean Payton has an offensive background and yet his offense sucked this year. So great coach. He's so good.
What is he supposed to do? He has a backup quarterback.
Not yet. He saw a slightly a shorter white guy, and he was like, "Oh, that's Drew Brees right there."
Is that what Sean McVay sounds like? You gotta puff
Sean Payton.
You gotta puff your cheeks out way more, like you're a chipmunk who's also chewing Copenhagen.
Do you think he was offended when he saw that movie come out and Kevin James played him?
I don't think he saw the movie. I don't think he has any idea that movie happened.
No.
If you found out, like if someone asked Sean Payton about that movie and he said, "What movie?" would that even phase you? Would you be like, Sean Payton doesn't know about his own movie? Or would you be like, yeah, that guy doesn't seem like someone who's consumed culture?
He would have had to sign off on it or they couldn't use his name, right?
Yeah, but it's super easy, Mike. When he's at the training camp and he comes over to sign autographs for all the kids, you just slip a release form in front of him. He thinks he's signing a football because his cheeks are blocking the bottom of his vision. Signs it. Suddenly you have his release.
True. Or his agent was just like, "Hey, Sean, they're going to be making a movie. It has to do with you and the Saints after Greg Williams tried to get players killed. And a lot of money, and it's going to make you look good." And he was just like, signed it.
What accent was that?
I don't know, but it's an accent. This is an accent for something. This is my Asian accent, I guess. My sports agent accent.
I like how you set your jaw in a certain way to do it too.
Yeah, you got to go sideways with it. You got
yeah. You really talk. You only talk out of a quarter of your mouth for it.
Exactly. I just use half the mouth. You can use the whole mouth for this one.
All right, Mike. Let's in a more structured way here talk about these 2 conference championship games. We're gonna do just like we did last time. We're gonna do picks for the spread, over under, and a player prop for each game.
All right.
So we're going to start here with the New England Patriots, who are at the Denver Broncos, which, once again, they've never won there in the playoffs, which means Drake may have the opportunity to do something Tom Brady could never do. Current spread, has the Patriots favored by 5.5 points on the road, and the over-under is 42.5 point. Mike, let's start simply here. What side of the spread are you on?
That 5.5. Is that you said?
5.5. Yeah.
Yeah. A little beefy.
There's.
I know it's Stidham, but that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about Broncos. Oh, I said
Patriots?
beefy. Yeah, you said like Harrison Mavis. Okay, you said
feel like
Mavis.
you-
And I was like, wait, are we not talking about the game I thought we were talking about? Sorry.
I walked into this podcast with my brain fried because I've had really bad allergies and I've been sneezing all day and it's like rattled around in my skull. And you short-circuited yourself yelling about the Bills, and now like everything since then, you're just like, what are we talking? Who? When? What?
Huh?
You really went into Marky Mark mode,
I'm really Wahlberg in this pod now.
which is not a verb that we should use in conjunction with anything we do in our personal life.
So it's funny because part of me is like, you know what, this Broncos defense is really good. The Patriots haven't been, they put up points against Houston's defense, but they got handed good field position multiple times. So really, Broncos plus 5.5 is a good call. I look at the game lines, I look at the odds, and like the book I'm on has minus 5.5 for the Patriots at minus 104, and I'm like, they could win by a touchdown. That's not crazy. And minus 104 is pretty nice. So for that reason, swayed by the odds, I'll take New England minus 5.5.
All right. I'll stick on the other side here. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Spoiler alerts for the next section, but I will be taking the under. And the under always favors the underdog to cover. So I'll go ahead and take Denver plus 5.5 on there. By the way, Illinois instituted a 50-cent tax on all gambling?
So it's funny. I pulled up my I went to FanDuel.com, and when I pulled it up, it already popped up. It was like, hey, it's a heads up. If you're in Illinois, you're getting taxed. You guys should throw a bunch of tea into a river, then they won't tax you anymore.
We throw a bunch of green into a river.
It's not enough. Just throw a bunch of Italian beef into the river. There you go.
Just gonna have
Bunch
fish
of deep
that
dish
are
pizzas into the river. Try to
They're
tax
basically
us,
huh? Mike. Over under 42.5. What side are you taking? Give me the narrative. Give me the narrative about how the side you're taking hits in this game.
I mean, I just don't think. I think Peyton, despite me just shitting on him, is going to come into this game with a bit of a bubble wrapped play calling. He's not going to let Stidham make the mistakes to give New England super short fields. So I mean, it's literally it's not juiced either way at what I'm looking at right now. So, but I'm going to go under here.
Minus 110. So technically,
yeah,
there's a vig, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Right, but I mean it's even. So yeah, I'm gonna go under here because I mean it's like I said earlier. We talked about like are the Broncos like DOA without Knicks, and I said no. I think you asked like, well, what would the score have to be for the Broncos to win? I think I said like 16-10. And even if flip it around and the Patriots win, I think that score is probably like 20-3. So yeah, I think this is a hardcore under for me.
I don't know how the Patriots are going to score 20 points unless their dog shit offense plays exactly as good as it did last week. Yeah, I mean, I'm going with the under. Like, there's not a lot of thought there. I think that like Drake May turned the ball over a lot last week against a much worse defense.
Much worse. Wow.
I mean,
you're saying the Texans are much worse than Denver?
Yeah. I think we have a clear top two, right? Seattle and Denver, and Houston's like a tier below.
Didn't Denver just give up 30 points last week?
Yeah, but most of that was just because Josh Allen got some bullshit off defensive pass interference calls, All those they were throwing so many flags for him to get DPIs.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like every pass. Right. Are you saying Drake May is as good as Josh Allen, Mike?
I mean, he's on path to be.
There you go. And they have better ownership situation. They have better coach.
He's the 1A or 1B to the MVP this year. So, yeah.
There you go. You heard it here first. Josh Allen usurped.
I mean, yeah, like you said, they got the ownership. I mean, has Pagula ever had a happy ending?
You have to repeat that. I was sneezing.
You said they had the better ownership, and I said you might be right. Has Pagula ever had a happy ending?
Yeah. All my time watching him, he hasn't.
I've never seen it. Never seen it with my own eyes, so I can't say.
He doesn't look as oddly relaxed as Robert Kraft does.
Right? Kraft doesn't give a shit.
Mike, what is your player prop?
I forgot we hadn't said that. So, crap, I got to pull the odds back up. So I moved it along. So last week, I'm taking the same prop I took last week.
Houston Texans under on passing attempts? That's crazy.
That's not what I took.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was?
A little man named Drake May to throw an interception was plus money. And once again, it's plus money at plus 110. So I'm taking yes, he's going to throw a pick. All right. Josh threw 2, really only 1, but the refs called it 2. But I mean, if Josh is throwing 1, then Drake's probably throwing at least 2. Because Josh is so good.
And if Josh Allen's fumbling the ball 4 times, Drake's probably fumbling at 8.
He fumbled it twice, and 1 wasn't his fault.
Okay, so my prop on this. I think that Vegas sees this game script as being Denver falls behind and has to throw the ball. And also the Patriots have a good run defense and not a great pass defense. I think that Sean Payton is smarter than people give him credit for. I think he's going to come in with some weird running shit. And I think that maybe the passing game will be an extension of the running game with some screens and things like that, but I don't foresee this as being a pass-heavy script. Jared Stidham, over-under for passing attempts, currently sitting at 31.5. Taking the under on that. Taking the under on 31.5. I'm betting against the public on this one. The public currently is betting pretty heavily on the over, which is set at 128. The under, however, minus 102.
Really? They're betting on the over?
By far. Like, the Patriots' rush defense just so vastly outweighs their pass defense.
It does.
Even with Christian Gonzalez.
I mean, like I said, there's a world where Sean Payton, he dials up like a very, a lot of short pass attempts, a lot of crossing mesh type concepts just to get the ball into receivers' hands in open field to try to pick up the yak. But still, I feel like the first half of that game, they might still try to test the defensive front of the Patriots and see if they can get something going. So, I mean, his passing attempts in the second half could be a good amount, but I feel like the first half it's not going to be because I think they might try to see if they can get by doing something else before they realize no, we can't. So I like that bet.
All right, here's what I want to see real quick. Let me ask you this:
Okay,
over under 1.5 QB draws.
Ooh, I'm gonna say under because people just don't get it. They just don't get it.
People don't get it. Also, Jared Stidham, 4.8, 140. So not exactly
not a speedster.
Blazing speed.
Not a speedster. So when you said 4.8, my brain broke and I was like, that is the shortest man to ever play football. And then I was like, he's talking about a 40 time, you idiot.
He'd still be taller than Bryce Young.
Hey, that man's better than CJ Stroud.
He is. We might be better than CJ Stroud, Mike. The other game, and the game that we did most of our draft picks for in that segment that was totally workshopped ahead of time and went over flawlessly.
Yes.
The Los Angeles Rams are at the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams currently sitting as 2.5-point underdogs with most of the action on the Seahawks. Mike, what side of the spread are you on here?
Hey, man. I said it last week. I'm all in. You're a Darnold denier. I'm a Darnold doper. I'm on that Darnold dope. All right, I'm smoking the Darnold dope. You know what I'm saying?
Do you
getting
write
high
this
on
one
that
down
Darnold dope?
Working through it right now, or
no? I just came up with it when I called you a Darnold denier earlier. I really wanted to throw it out there.
Got it.
And so I love his team. I love Mike McDonald. Smoking the Darnold dope. I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to cover the 2.5. I think this one could be back and forth, yes. But I also mentioned it that it was that something about that comeback when for the first time ever I saw Darnold cake his pants, and for the first time in his career, he went into the locker room, grabbed some TP, wiped the pants clean, and said, "Let's get back after it, boys." That impressed me. That made me believe in this team.
TP for that.
True. Probably true. He took out the
Getting,
dude
a pressure
wipes.
washer.
Took out the dude wipes. All right.
Got the dude wipes out, which this podcast is sponsored by. Use code TALENT at checkout for no discount. So their first game of the season, they played in November. The Rams won by 2 points in a game where Darnold turned the ball over a lot. Second game of the season, the overtime game that Seattle ends up winning by 1 point in a game that Darnold turned the ball over a lot. So on the season, the Rams have a 1 point advantage in aggregate against Seattle. I will also point out, Mike, in the history of these two storied franchises, that between them have 3 Super Bowls total. Is that right? Currently, the Seahawks lead the series. They lead the lifetime series against the Rams, 29-28. This could be the equalizer. The Rams win. Yeah. They'll be tied at 29-all going into next season, which will be everything's on the line then. In the first regular season game they play, not the Super Bowl. That one doesn't matter. But the first regular season game they play against each other. That could be the tiebreaker if the Rams win. I say all that to say I am taking the Seattle Seahawks -2.
There you go. Yeah. I think there's just some interesting things to look at between those two games. Like if we have
like
a
all
moment,
the turnovers? Was that most of the interesting things?
Well, no, I was gonna like that first week where Darnold does a Darnold implosion that we had become used to, and he throws 4 picks. They still only lost by 2 points. Right? Stafford didn't pop off. I mean, he was mistake free, 15-28. So that's like roughly like 55-60%. No, that's like slightly over 50% completion for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. But it's like yards per attempt, not good. But what helped him was like Kyron Williams averaged 7.6 yards per carry. Fast forward to that last game where they make the big comeback. Dude, Ronald Mike McDonald, defensive guru, made some adjustments because Kyron got that ball 23 times and he only averaged 3 yards a carry. Blake Corum only averaged 3.4. All right. And Stafford threw it a lot more, 49 times, and had 457 yards, 3 touchdowns. But that's not the point, Adam. That's not the point.
Whose side? What side of this are you arguing? I've lost track.
It wasn't until I was really making a point for the Seahawks until I saw that Stafford line on the second game. I don't remember it being that good, but goddamn, 457. But still, I think
that was so confusing for me. I need you to understand.
Yeah, I know. I still think McDonald's he's figuring out these Rams. He's got them. Third time's a charm. He's going to not shut them down, but he's going to shut them down enough to get the job done here.
Darnold in those 2 games, 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Yeah, not worried about it. Scared.
Not worried about it. All right, Mike. The
over-under boy's got his swagger going, all right?
Over-under in this game, 46.5 points. Currently juiced to the over. What side are you taking? What side are you taking?
Well, Adam, the first time they played, it was under that. But the second time they played, it was way over that. You said 46.5, right?
46.5.
So the first time they were 6.5 points under. But the next time they were, Jesus Christ, 75 points total. So way over. So I'm
8.5 points.
Because they were more over on the second game than they were under on the first game.
I'll take the under on this one. I
Wrong.
think Vegas probably assumes the under as well because of how close the line is on this. And Darnold's going to throw at least 3 interceptions. And Seattle's defense has been absolutely curling into form down the stretch.
Right.
And Stafford, as far as we know, has no fingers left that aren't fractured.
So the Rams defense in that second matchup did put up 3 sacks. I don't even think they get that this time around.
Okay, I was waiting for the conclusion. I didn't know for a second that was your entire thought.
I know, like Verse, Young, these studs up the front, they can't do nothing with bum-ass Cam Curl, Manuel Forbes, and the jabronis back there.
How dare you only point out the 2 former Commanders?
I did do that, didn't I? I'm sorry.
All right, Mike, and finally, for our lauded and much anticipated conference championship preview. What is your player prop?
Why do I gotta go first?
Because you've gone first for all 5 questions leading up to this.
All right, fine. This is kind of a crazy one.
Uh-huh.
I thought because I've been so smoking so much of that Darnold dope, I'd go with something on him. JSN, like I said, should be Offensive Player of the Year. And I've been very critical of the Rams secondary, so maybe I go something. Maybe a little AJ Barner. Thought about that. But then I thought to put my money where my mouth is, put my money where my love is, I mentioned him earlier. Ever since Matthew Stafford's no interception streak broke, he's thrown some interceptions. Hasn't thrown one against the Seahawks yet. Third time's a charm. That changes this weekend when he gets picked off by safety Julian Love at plus 1,000.
Okay. I need you to know. This is really annoying because I was going to take a specific player to have an interception too.
Were you really?
Just out of spite, I was going to take Emmanuel Forbes at plus 750. But since you already did that.
Forbes is higher odds than my boy Julian Love.
He's got more interceptions than your brother.
Yeah, that's true. And Forbes is a corner.
Instead, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Matthew Stafford under 0.5 rushing yards.
Ooh.
It's minus 166.
Yeah, I like that.
So you're paying a price for it, but it feels like a lock, right? Right.
Yeah, does that factor in sack yardage?
No.
Okay.
It does factor in kneel downs, though, so it's a little bit of a hedge.
Mm-hmm.
Not a great hedge because you could just simply get them on the money line at plus 130. So I'm basically giving up a ton of juice for a prop that's almost guaranteed to hit either way. But kneel downs would help. But if you want, you could try to parlay those two together. Emmanuel Forbes to record an interception and Matthew Stafford under 0.5 rushing yards. And they will tell you that you cannot parlay those two bets together. Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
I mean, you mentioned it, talking about the last game. But, I mean, McVay's a smart offensive guy. I feel like if you're facing a critical fourth down, somewhere between 4th and 5 and shorter, someone like Stafford, empty set, QB draw, they're never going to see it coming. I think there's no chance he'll do that. That means streak into the end zone.
Nick him and worry.
Running a 5.2 40, just streaking down the field.
Nick him and worry. Line up against him. As soon as Stafford starts to tuck the ball in slow motion like he's going to run it, Nick him and worry has the athletic ability to get to the line and tackle him behind the line before he's even realized what's going on.
Yeah. I won't text you. I only text you when the QB draws work. Whenever they don't work, I'm like, they didn't get it. It has to be properly deployed. They didn't get it.
By the way, Julian Love, 1 interception on the year.
Got to be 2.
He's tied for 90th in the league.
It's not too bad.
All right, Mike. Any other conference championship thoughts you want to close out with here?
No. Just that I find it. I don't know if you've noticed this throughout doing this podcast, but I've noticed when we talk playoffs in multiple sports, once we get late into the playoffs, like the conference finals and like the finals, I find myself not jumping in and looking up as much like stats and ratings and all this stuff. Because at this point, I'm like, I know who these teams are. I've seen enough.
So, I just want to clarify. Your sentiment here is that once shit hits the fan, once it's not cutting time, you do less research.
I no, that's not what I meant. I mean, I still do some research, but I think it's just like, I guess I should put it this way. Like when I look at what you put on the rundown, like I already start to percolate the thoughts. And then
I could tell because you don't ask me about what the segment is. You just show up and go.
Right.
Yes. Today we're doing the Mike thing that I wanted to do.
Yeah. And then when I go in and do some research on those thoughts, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Because like we know these teams now. We know who these guys are. We know what it is.
So I do just want to in a somewhat what someone should have done, Terry Pagula, point out that it does sound a little bit like you're saying, once my team's eliminated, I don't really feel the strong need to go look things up.
No, that's not what I was saying. What I was saying is what I was saying, if you would listen, I was saying that I know ball. All right. So after watching these teams for a whole year, I just know it. I get it. Everything I just said is going to happen. So trail it.
Mike knows and gets ball.
I do. Wait,
what?
All right,
Mike. Huh? Live after the conference championship, Mike will be live on Periscope, so be sure to tune in to that.
Hit me up.
Mike, you love the NFL draft so much that I keep trying to get you to marry it. Some would say that you are gay for Mel Kiper. And only Mel Kiper. No? But his hair, it looks like at any point, if he catches enough speed, he'll just take off like a jet.
That's true. You see that hair and that like hawk nose, you're like, oh, that guy fucks.
You're like, that guy definitely eats worms and digests them into his children's mouths. So I wanted to get 2 risers in what is my least favorite subcategory of the draft, which is people who, between the end of the college football season and the draft, inexplicably rise up boards despite playing 0 NFL or 0 college snaps. Yeah. So I wanted us to each put forward people right now who we see as risers for somewhat no reason.
Okay.
I don't like when you make that noise. That noise.
No, I was agreeing.
That noise sure sounds like you had a different idea about what the segment was.
No, I don't know how I could have misconstrued that one.
Oh,
like,
no.
I thought you meant he was going to grow and become taller.
I think I'm just gun shy now. I can start us off here, Mike.
Send it.
Mike is on the other side getting stuff out of a lunchbox, I think.
Mm-hmm. You get my cocaine.
Getting his cocaine ready? Because you got to do cocaine. Mike, my first inexplicable offseason riser. Logan Jones, interior offensive lineman out of Iowa. Are you familiar with him? Have you seen his work?
Not too familiar with Logan Jones.
PFF Big Board currently ranks 168. This man is it comes from the thicker kicker school of being a perfectly round human being. 6'3", 302 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
He allowed 1 sack on 3 pressures, 1 sack and 3 pressures in 766 offensive snaps. And according to Nate Brugler of The Athletics, Freaks List, 700-pound squat, 36.6 inch vert, and he runs a faster 40 than Jared Stidham.
Damn.
Once again, at 6'3", 302, 36.6 inch vert. This guy can jump 3 feet in the air despite the fact that he weighs 302 pounds.
We're not even talking like conference championship games anymore, and poor Stidham's catching strays.
I think this guy's just going to be a combine machine. And, like, the stats are good, right? Like, they aren't like, oh, my God, elite first-round prospect at interior offensive line. And I'm sure he's got short arms or something that'll make everyone think that he should fall in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just an athletic machine. And he is definitely going to go to an outside zone running team. He's going to go to a Shanahan system. And he's just going to fucking cook. You know what's going to happen? The fucking Ravens are going to draft him.
Oh, God damn it.
That is exactly what's going to happen. The Ravens are going to draft him. They're going to have these 2 interior, and him and Linderbaum, these 2 interior offensive linemen who could just move. And they're going to cook everyone in the running game for another 5 years. That's what's going to happen.
I'll tell you what, they fired Harbaugh, and you didn't see me say a damn thing about they should fire their GM, because that dude, I think, has done a fantastic job.
Austin Fort? Is that his name? Or am I thinking of that's the Arizona. Hold on. The Ravens GM is Eric DeCosta. DeCosta. You remember it because he eats a DePasta.
Eats a DePasta DeCosta.
Should I cut that? Is that going to get us canceled?
Oh, against Italians? I'm Italian. I can make.
No one can tell you're Italian.
I'm Italian. 55%. I've done the 23 and me.
That 55% must be entirely from the waist down.
There's a dick joke somewhere, but I can't find it. So, that was the joke right there.
Mike, you got any Logan Jones thoughts? You got any Iowa offensive line thoughts?
No, I don't. I never hate looking into a big beefy Midwest motherfucker. You know.
Uh-huh. I believe that is what they called Josh Allen in high school, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, he was from California, so okay.
Yeah. California. He played at Wyoming. Here we go.
Yeah. Also not Midwest, but okay.
Wyoming?
Yeah.
What the fuck would you call Wyoming?
I guess that's Midwest adjacent. It's pretty close. I mean, it's in that weird buffer between Midwest and West Coast, I feel like.
Yeah, like what would you call someone from Nevada? Would you call them Midwestern?
I called them a meth head, probably.
I called the cops on them.
That's what I would do.
Your first inexplicable offseason riser. I like how I've trademarked it now. I've turned it into a thing, and now we can sell T-shirts that say it. Or underwear. We can sell underwear that says it.
There you go. I love it.
That's how you market. That's how you market.
That's how you market.
That's how you do it. All right, let's end the podcast.
I guess, my Wyoming does border South Dakota and Nebraska, so it is pretty close to Midwest. I think you're right.
Mike's inexplicable offseason riser is geography.
Geography. So we're in this, Dante Moore says, nah, I'm good. Chambliss, if he goes to court and gets his waiver, he'll be gone. And so, Mendoza's obviously going to be the first QB off the board, most likely number 1 to Vegas. Ty Simpson, you'd think would be second, but I think guys have their questions, and so there's going to be a lot of moving and shaking in the QB rankings. No. But he does have physical tools that some team will talk themselves into, but I don't know how much he can rise.
Stop making dick jokes.
Yeah. I've already talked about the nuts bus. I'm going way further down the list. The 202nd ranked player on PFF's big board, Luke Altmaier, out of Illinois. It is. Was at Ole Miss for a couple years, and then transferred to Illinois for the past Illinois. There's no noise in Illinois. That's what I was taught in school. Transferred to your favorite college, Illinois. The last 2 years, where he has not hit quite 3,000 yards. He was just shy this year, but over 20.
Illinois cursed like the state? Can quarterbacks just not hit yardage metrics as soon as they come to the state? Is that a rule?
That might be what it is. That's a rule. But they've had very good winning seasons the last 2 years, and been not a contender for the Big Ten, but one of the upper tier teams, I'd like to say. I mean, they did get their totally kicked in by Indiana, but they won the Natty, so it's okay. Point is, 22 touchdowns the last 2 seasons, only 5 interceptions this year, 6 last year. Good size, 6'2", 215, solid arm. I think he's someone who I could see the guy similar to a Tyler Shuck, taking a little more of a deeper dive into the tape. He's experienced, seeing what he can do, and taking a shot on him. So, hey, congratulations, Saints. I just found your next starting QB.
Yeah, does he have any hip bones left? You got to have no hip bones to be the next Tyler Shuck.
I don't think there's any injuries on his record.
Wow, look at this guy. He's like Tyler Shuck, but superhero mode. My next riser.
I will say real quick.
Okay.
My only criticism of Illinois football is that they have the lamest team name.
Fighting
the Illini. The Illini. You're just people from Illinois.
Yeah.
Is your mascot just like a normal dude dressed in clothes who's like, I'm Jeff, the mascot?
What's
for
the
Harvard
Illini mascot?
It's Zuckerberg.
Oh yeah.
He's got a robot down there.
It's just the from when Facebook was the Facebook.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They lost the and Harvard found it.
You ever watch Harvard football where they're like, give me a T.
Give me an H. Give me an E.
Give me an E. Classic.
My next riser. Inexplicable offseason riser. Got to keep using the Brandon. My next inexplicable offseason riser. He's got a brother in the NFL, Mike. He's got a brother in the NFL.
Oh.
D2, I think. Or, wait, what's the other one? FBS? FBS.
No, FBS is the main one. You're thinking of FCS, I think.
FCS. FCS? Yeah. Brother in the NFL. You know who I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Bryce Lance.
Trey Lance's bro.
Trey Lance's brother. Currently on PFF as the 134th ranked prospect. He's a senior. He's a wide receiver. He receives widely, Mike.
Is
6'3",
someone going to trade up for him too and overdraft him?
Yeah,
and he's going to end up on the Cowboys.
Shannon's taking him at 3. So this year, at wide receiver, 68 targets, 51 receptions, 8 touchdowns. The year before, 17 touchdowns. Led FCS. Actually set an FCS record with 17 touchdowns last year. But here's the important thing. 21.2 yards a reception, 3.57 yards per route run, and a 66.7% contested catch rate. He is also featured on Hero of the Pod, Dan Brugler, whichever one it is, Freaks List, because he has a ridiculous 40-inch vertical.
I thought Feldman did the Freak List.
Whatever, one of them does. They're all the same
It's
person.
Feldman.
They're invisible people behind the list. But he has a 40-inch vertical and was, once again, the best contested catch receiver in FCS. It is Bruce Feldman.
I know it was Bruce Feldman. I listened to the the Audible podcast. It's the Athletic CFB podcast.
All podcasts are Audible, you idiot. If it was inaudible, you couldn't hear it. It wouldn't be a podcast. Mike, you got any Bryce Lance thoughts?
You made a deep cut there with Bryce Lance. I wasn't expecting that. You think he's going to make a move up the boards, eh?
From 134, yeah, I could see it. In a bad wide receiver class too. You're going to check like the day of the draft. He's going to be 132. I told you. Gets taken in the 6th instead of the 7th.
Doing moving up in the world.
Let's be honest, Mike. Come tomorrow, if you said, who did you mention as the inexplicable offseason risers? I will not remember. I mentioned Bryce Lance. Let's be honest about the way this podcast runs. Mike, who is your final inexplicable offseason riser?
This guy just has to rise, I think. A man by the name of Romello Height.
Oh, because his name's Height, so he has to rise. Got it.
Yeah. Edge rusher out of Texas Tech who had an unbelievable defense this year. And they spent a lot of money to get it.
They got that oil money, right? Texas Tech?
They got that oil money, baby. They got that Daniel Day-Lewis oil money. This is his. Texas Tech was actually the 4th team he was on in college because everything's just gotten ridiculous. But
God, he would have been such a sick Prospect Wordle guy. Oh my God.
Yeah. Experienced. He does profile as like your OLB premier, just like you're gunning after the passer when he put you out there at 6'3", 240. But the guy had 9 sacks, 11 QB hits, 42 hurries out of his 62 total pressures. I know like David Bailey gets a lot of the attention, and he should have 15 sacks this year, and he's unreal. He's not available in the draft this year, unfortunately, too young. But I could see Romello Height going to the Senior Bowl if he decides to, and totally burning by some of the top tackles and linemen at the Senior Bowl and shooting up the boards.
There you go. Those are our 4 inexplicable offseason risers that we are talking about early January. We'll be back after the draft
also
to tell you our inexplicable offseason risers for 2027. What's up?
Can I just throw out one other name?
Yeah.
Jacob Rodriguez, 4 years at Texas Tech, one of the highest graded linebackers in the country this year. Just phenomenal at run defense. Great, good in coverage. Didn't get sent on pressure a lot, so he's a little bit more of your middle linebacker. But the dude was so good this year that I have to imagine I could see him moving up draft boards because I don't see this linebacker class. Obviously, they have a dude up top in Arvell Reese. And then I talked very highly last podcast about Anthony Hill Jr. You also have CJ Allen and Sonny Styles. But, there's guys in front of Rodriguez on these big boards that I'm like, man, I think he's actually better than that guy. So keep an eye out for a little Jacob Rodriguez action.
Jacob Rodriguez. Mike says he's going 4th in the linebacker class. All right, Mike. Well, there's only one thing left to do here before we get out of here. We got to play a little game we play around these parks called Prospect Wordle. Mike, Prospect Wordle is a game that we play on Wednesdays, as Mike insists, where Mike has 6 chances to guess a prospect that I have decided ahead of time. Before each guess, Mike will receive a clue. Before each guess. Wait, did I say running back? What did I say?
No, you said Mike insists we play it every Wednesday, and I said you make the rundown.
No, I said running back. I'm like, I don't know why I said running back.
No, you didn't.
Mike gets a hint before each of these guesses, starting with height and weight, projected draft day, class or times transferred, position, conference, and finally, team. Mike has never gotten it in one guess.
I haven't.
Mike,
that's bad.
Are you ready to play a game of Prospect Wordle?
Go.
It's a good week for branding. We got Inexplicable Offseason Risers and Prospect Wordle, both of which you can now buy on underwear. Height and weight. Mike, this player is 6'5", 243 pounds.
Jesus, that's got to be a tight end. Let's go with little Michael Trigg out of Ole Miss.
No. I was hoping so bad that after you said that, you were going to say Elijah Surratt.
No.
Mike, this player is projected to be a day 1 draft pick, according to
Day
PFF's
1
board.
I was not prepared for the day one. You haven't
I
done
know.
a day one in a minute, so
Haven't done a
I
day one
wasn't
in a
even
minute.
thinking
Haven't done a day one in a
that
minute.
could be like.
So when I say
possibility.
day one, by the way, that means he is
Mhm.
in the top 32 draft picks on PFF's
Yeah.
big board.
I'm gonna stick with the tight end, even though now I'm thinking, it could just be a tall edge rusher. You said 6'6", right?
6'5", 243.
Yeah, I guess be a tall edge rusher, but I'm gonna stick with tight end. I'm gonna go with my boy out of Oregon, Kenyon Sadiq.
Nope.
You're a dick.
Do you want to know class or times transferred, Mike?
Class.
Class it is. 6'5", 243. This player is projected to be a day one draft pick and is a senior. A senior. He is a senior. Elijah Surratt.
Oh, David Bailey actually is in the draft. He's a senior.
So is that what you're guessing, or did that just occur to you?
That just occurred to me, but yeah, I'm saying David Bailey.
No. Mike. 6'5", 243. A day one draft pick, a senior, and this player plays linebacker. He's a linebacker. He plays linebacker.
He's a 6'5" linebacker?
Yeah, what? 6'5" linebacker? You can make this stuff?
I mean, you think like day one linebackers, you are thinking Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese. You're thinking CJ Allen. You're thinking Anthony Hill. CJ Allen?
No. Okay. 6'5", 243, day one, senior linebacker. Mike, this player played in the Big Ten.
Okay, it's Arvell Reese.
No.
What? Oh, no, it's Sonny Styles. It's Sonny Styles.
Okay, I'm still not giving you credit for that in 5. That's 6 guesses because that was your 6th player,
Fuck
but
you.
it is in fact Sonny Styles. You guessed Arvell Reese first. That was your 5th guess. Your 6th guess was Sonny Styles.
No, I misspoke. You didn't hear me right. It was Discord's compression made it sound like I said Arvell Reese. I said Sonny Styles.
Mike, you got Prospect Wordle in 6 guesses.
Senior should have gave me that one. That pisses me off. This is horseshit. This is fucking horseshit.
Also, Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles almost the same size.
Yeah, but Arvell Reese isn't a senior, is he?
No, he's a junior.
Exactly. That's why I should have known Sonny Styles. I'm such a douchebag. God damn it. What if my entire computer just shut down? I was that mad. Fuck this.
Then this video podcast would have a lot of microphone stand-ins. That's all I got, Mike.
I sounded dumb twice in that Prospect Wordle because I realized that, I was dumb earlier when I said David Bailey isn't in the draft. He is in the draft. So I had to out myself for being dumb there. And then I accidentally said Arvell Reese, who is a junior when Sonny Styles is a senior. He was fucking won a national title last year. And he was literally one of the returning guys when I made my argument that Ohio State isn't as depleted as people thought. I was like, Sonny Styles. Dude, I'm disgusted with myself. I'm going to make myself do 400 push-ups as punishment later.
So enjoy watching Mike do push-ups for the next 2.5 weeks.
I'm going to do 4.
Mike, John Lynch says that Brandon Ayuk has played his last snap for the 49ers. Your instant reaction?
My instant reaction is I'm still bitter about the playoffs, and Lynch played for the Broncos, so fuck John Lynch.
There you go. Mike, that's all I got. Do we have anything else that we need to cover?
I checked my phone before Prospect Wordle. No breaking news I feel the need to reiterate here.
Well, there you go. Well, then I will just shout out that we have a live stream.
Ex-Browns offensive coordinator Tommy Reese heading to Atlanta with Kevin Stefanski. Pop quiz at him. Where'd Tommy Reese go to college?
Mizzou.
Notre Dame.
Oh.
Former QB, baby. He's
I
the
did
one
Mizzou
who...
arms.
I remember years ago I told you this. I think I told you the story. I think this may have been way back on like our initial podcast venture, Three Guys and a Cat.
Right.
Where I brought up how he got chased down by the cops when they broke up a party on campus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, that can't be a good sign. Our QB got chased down by the cops.
Yeah. The same reason Jared Stidham's not looking great. I'm pretty sure the cops can catch him at 4.81 on a 40.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, quick shout out. We got a live stream tomorrow. That is Thursday, the 22nd. That'll be it kicks off 6:45 Eastern. The actual stream starts at 7. It gives people time to gather. We'll be streaming some Pokemon Mystery Mansion stuff. Well, it's Pokemon Red, but we're going to be in the Mystery Mansion for the whole stream. And then we'll be back on Friday for an episode of Basky. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. And don't ring that bell. Don't do it. No one wants the bell. No one wants push notifications. This world exists entirely on push notifications. Sit in a car with Mike Regan for 12 seconds and you'll realize that. Do not ring the bell. But if you're following us on any other audio platform, be sure to give us as many stars as possible. Be that 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, or 65. You can email us at townhallpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what natural language model you think will succeed and one day take over as U.S. president. With that, Mike, would you like to give an Ohio State linebacker base shout out on the way out the door?
Dude, I guess, shout out to former Ohio State linebacker Cody Cookham and Sookham Simon.
Sookham.
That has to be a word somewhere, right? He sooks him.
He sooks
Gives
him.
him a good sooking.
He cook him like Cody Simon. He's always sooking him.
Now do it in Gus Johnson's voice.
Wait, hold on to me. Cody sooks him! The hero!